Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now we're taking a look here today at Audius, which is audio, and it's a really cool coin. And I say that because my community members, a lot of my patrons are invested in this, and we've actually been able to take some serious profits in the past. So all things are working very well with Audius, but at this point, it looks like it's pumping up and getting ready for another test of its previous all-time high. So we're going to take a look at that here today with a technical analysis. Now, bear in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should always do your own research and make sure that you take ownership of your own trades. And by that, I just mean, learn as much as you can from as many people as possible. I'm not the only person you should listen to. Granted, I have an 80% success rate overall with my trading. Over the years, in the last 15 years, I've been able to develop a really good, comfortable trading style and trading habits. But again, it doesn't happen overnight, right? So just practice makes perfect. Do as much as you can with what you got and learn as much as you obviously can as well. And apply your own insight to that, because we all have different risk tolerances and different things here, right? Regardless of that fact, I want to thank again my patron. Thank you, Thomas, for recommending that I cover this here today. Really appreciate you reaching out and requesting this. And again, I make videos like this for my community members, and if you want to check that out in your own time, I have a link in the description below for my Patreon account. Check that out, of course. I send out signals, buy signals, sell signals, everything you really need to know to ensure that you're a profitable trader, right? I share every trade that I have and I make with my community members, even ones I haven't taken yet, to ensure we get there eventually. All right, so check that out again in your own time. Be happy to help you out, of course, at a better later date. Either way, hope you enjoy what you learned here today. Now let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's check out the charts. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at Audius. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first to get a baseline of the market so we know kind of what's going on. That way we understand, big picture, what the two largest coins in the industry are doing, more specifically Bitcoin, because it kind of has an influence on everything, kind of, right? Just a little bit. And then, of course, Ethereum. A lot of coins are on the ERC20 blockchain. It's kind of good to know that, generally speaking, so you understand the state of what's going on there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. And just to clarify too, I use TradingView desktop application or .com. Either one works just fine. I recommend the paid versions because it gives you more than 2 indicators present at any given time. Okay, I have a link in the description below if you want to check that out, try it out, see if you like it before you buy it. Nothing wrong with that. So moving on to Bitcoin. Okay, so obviously this is September 7th back here, the first, the more recent Bitcoin sell-off, and then we had this state of consolidation between 44,000 and 46,800. That was a previous channel. So in case you weren't aware of that, that was one of the first channels that Bitcoin entered into prior to all this, and then it worked its way up to the upper channel, which is 46,800 up to 50,000. And then obviously it got kicked back down. But now where we're at right now at this point, we are likely in the upper channel again here. And we are between 46,800 and essentially 48,100. Now this line right here is like, oh, that doesn't match up with the 4-hour chart. That's because it's based on the 1-hour chart. If you look at the 1 hour, you can see here that Bitcoin is essentially getting stopped out right at about 48.1. So right now, I feel like the small channel we're going to be working within is 46,800 upwards of 48,100. Okay, we could break above, hard to say, but at this point, we've got an hour and a half left in the trading cycle, and I think the likelihood of that is fairly low for that to break above. So I think we're going to be kind of stuck on this channel, perhaps throughout the weekend, or we might see kind of a sell-off tomorrow on Friday, and then a ramp back up over the weekend, which is a common occurrence in a bull market, just based on the way things are going. But there's a lot of strange stuff going on in the US with the news and stuff, so it's hard to say. Any little thing will kind of just send this south. Either way, that's kind of the state of Bitcoin right now for the most part. Looking at Ethereum, effectively a very similar situation, but good news is Ethereum did break above its previous resistance. So if you can see that, 35.5, so 33,550 was essentially the resistance that got broke, and now at this point it's potential support. So we'll see what the one-day chart, or the one-day candlestick rather, where that closes. If it can close above 35.5, sorry, that probably confuses you, right? 3,550. Then we're going to be looking pretty good to see that work as a continuous support. Otherwise, we'll be kind of stuck in the lower channel there, and it'll probably kind of be somewhere in the range of, between 34.25 and 35.50. We'll see what happens next. But all in all, Ethereum's definitely looking good, all things considered, not in terrible shape at all. I think we're going to see Ethereum still start slowly making its climb back up to its previous all-time high. It just might take a little while. Really depends on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin can get a little more sideways action, then Ethereum will essentially take off. It has a tendency of taking off on its own when Bitcoin has like a state of indecision for too long. So we get, a good week or two worth of sideways action from Bitcoin, Ethereum will probably take off. That's kind of one of the first indicators that we are in, or we're just about to be in the altcoin season. All right, so we'll go ahead and take a look here at audio now. First of all, for Audius, audio, etc., you can see it kind of ramping back up. This is a very, very good sign here. A lot of coins are doing this, and they're usually large market capitalization coins. Like the top 100 coins are starting to take off. They're taking off more quickly than the low cap or the mid cap, based on the simple fact that they have a tendency of getting more market capitalization, more volume, therefore potential more volatility. But it's just kind of another sign that alt season is coming, because Ethereum's first, and then a lot of large cap coins are also next. And we've seen that with, ADA, Solana, a good handful of other coins. Even BNB took off for a little while, but a lot of them got stunted out based on September 7th. But at this point, audio is looking pretty good, all things considered. I'm not surprised to see this here. RSI is still under 70, which is fantastic. It means we have much more room for growth. And what's great about this too, in case you're not aware, RSI at 50 is kind of a support level. And 70 is kind of resistance. So when the price breaks above 50 on the RSI, that's a very good sign. That means that we are more so in bullish territory there, and we should likely see the price stay in this upper channel, or essentially close above its previous resistance and work as a support. Also note convergence right here on the MACD. This is a great sign. There's a good chance that we're going to see a continuation from audio, based on the fact that yes, today's been somewhat of a a green day for Bitcoin. It's also been a red day too, right? It's kind of more so it's just kind of stopped out and leveled out, where audio is kind of taking off. It's a very good sign. This might be a strong consideration for another entry point based on just these sentiments alone. I really like to see a MACD convergence on the 1-day chart. Let's see how the 4-hour looks though. Oh, and let's go back just a little bit. I want to take a quick look at some support and resistance levels, because this is some previous information I've drawn out here previously, of course, when the last time I covered it. I think it might have been a week or two ago, where we had a resistance there getting tested at about $3.30 as a close approximate, just say 3.30, and it got rejected and came back down. So that was happening before the sell-off here recently. So there's a good chance that we could see that getting tested again here in the near future. There's also a support/current resistance, but it will probably break as a support now at roughly 260. What is that? 270. So 270 up to 330. So we've got a 60-cent range here, and it's almost smack dab in the middle for right now. So I think there's a strong chance we're going to see a continuation to the upside here to go ahead and see that level getting tested again. So 330 should get tested in the near future. Also note, let's go ahead and see here, 50-day simple moving average is working as a support level, and that is essentially driving the price up. So that also helped here the last 3 days, where it could not go any lower, therefore it broke out. It's a great sign. All in all, good stuff here from audio. Furthermore, we broke the 200-day simple moving average here recently, so really good sign there. 50 is obviously working as a support. RSI is up over 70 on the 4-hour chart, but this is pretty standard for the situation here. So what we want to see probably, just to kind of have a continuation here, is just a little bit of sideways action for the next 4 to 8 hours, and then perhaps another ramp up. I've noticed that 8 hours of consolidation is a pretty comfortable time frame that kind of correlates directly with the TD sequential, so you have enough time for the price to kind of level itself out before we go on another run. So if all goes well, we see some sideways action here, we see a pump or a leg up from Bitcoin tomorrow, and then audio will take off. Doesn't necessarily need that to happen, but it would be very helpful, of course. That'll help it break its resistance of $3.30. All right, so a lot of good stuff here from Audius. I really do like this here. In fact, this might be a good signal for my patrons. And if you're new to the channel too, by the way, I actually have a Patron account, of course. Check that out in your own time. But we have a community members that what I do is I send out signals throughout the week, every single trade that I take, swing trades, day trades, hodl trades. I mostly just day trade Bitcoin, but furthermore, I send out a lot of different trade signals that are actually doing very well right now. And it's just a really cool environment to be able to kind of collaborate and communicate openly with everyone, because we do have a private chat channel. So check that out in your own time, of course. But everything you're learning here today, everything I'm utilizing, is something that I use in my trading day to day, week to week, etc. I've been trading for about 15 years. I average about 80% success rate. So all in all, it's been a very good experience. So join up if you'd like. If not, that's okay too. I have a free Telegram community as well, kind of a group there where you can kind of interact and kind of get a similar experience, just not as detailed, and obviously you don't follow the exact same trades. regardless, let's take a look here at Ichimoku. Now, obviously, we broke above the Ichimoku cloud here recently. I'm willing to guess that, see here, that's 15th. That was, yep, that was yesterday. So right yesterday, when Bitcoin kind of started to take off a little bit, Audius did as well. And ever since then, we've seen an increase of approximately 31%. So that's really cool increase here for Audius. And if you're new to the channel, key takeaway here for the cloud. First of all, if you're new to this, disable all this extra stuff here. Not to say it's junk, it is helpful in certain ways, but unless you know how to read it, just keep it simple. Just add the cloud only. So that way you can kind of follow along. And the bottom line here is that the cloud, when the price is above, it's considered a buy signal, and when it's below, it's considered a sell signal, right? So say you shorted back here, you would have got yourself, 5 to 10%. If you went long right here, of course, we just addressed that, you probably got about a 30% increase. And there are some times where it kind of gives up and it gives you false positives, but for the most part, when the price breaks below, it's a good sell signal. When it breaks above, it's a good buy signal. Okay, so just something to remember here for the Ichimoku cloud. Something I always look at, and it's most effective on the 1 hour chart. In my experience, I think the 1 hour chart works the best. So just remember that. And then what we want to do is look at TD Sequential, and look, this is what I was referring to earlier, where we want to have 8 hours of consolidation. So right now we got the price coming up here. First of all, to preface, if you don't know what TD Sequential does, it basically just gives us, kind of helps us identify market exhaustion. So if you see it count up from 1 to a 9, once it hits a 9, it's usually reached its max potential of increase or decrease, and it starts going the other direction. So in this case, it didn't necessarily come back down because it still had that bullish momentum because it was above the cloud, right? So what it is, it went sideways, retraced a little bit, and then pumped. So we get this pump, we got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll probably see a 9 here soon, and that'll complete the cycle. And in turn, what we should expect to see is the price either continue sideways like it did before, and or kind of continue off, trail off, bounce off support, and then return back up. Again, this is all pending Bitcoin doesn't, take a belly flop down to 44,000, right? Because that is very relevant here in this scenario. Obviously, Audius is performing very well outside of Bitcoin's, movement today, but that doesn't mean that it's not still reliant on it, because obviously on the 7th of September here, we can see a decrease of somewhere in the range of about 35%. So generally speaking, it's not independent of Bitcoin, but it certainly is moving very well right now, contrary to how Bitcoin is behaving. Because Bitcoin is doing a lot of sideways right now, kind of up and down within, $1,000 range. Audio is taken off, right? Now there could have been a short squeeze right here. There's a good chance of that. But regardless, it's probably just an increase in volume, as we can kind of see here, and more interest in Audius. So that's a really good sign. I like a lot of everything that I see here so far. So all in all, I'm willing to estimate that Audius will continue to break its previous all-time high, the most recent high, of $3.30. And let's see here, was there an all-time high? I forgot, I don't think we identified that. All right, we'll mark that too really quick. So all-time high is $4.04, at least on this chart. I don't know if this goes all the way back here. Perhaps Binance had an ICO date of 2020, October 23rd. If there is another chart, of course, with a previous all-time high, I do apologize, but the most recent all-time high that I think is the most relevant is essentially $4.40. Sorry, $4.04, 404. Okay, so I think it's really very realistic for Audius to break 330 and to trend towards 404. Looking at the 15-minute chart, we can kind of see here that the price is above EMA and VWAP. Honestly, not really a lot to extract here in the sense that, the VWAP line is going to kind of meet with $2.70, just kind of making it more of a stronger support level. So, but future reference, if you use the VWAP, it's a volume weighted average price. It takes the volume last 24 hours, express it as a price, and it ensures that you understand that, the price being above, it's considered a support. When it's below, it's considered resistance, where the price will, in most cases, bounce off of it if it doesn't do that already with the VWAP. So we can see here what happened though. The price went up here, it got too high, it broke outside the standard deviation lines of the volume weighted average price, came back down, it retraced, broke EMA, but it bounced off the support level here. Okay, so that kind of is a good sign here. It basically confirms the fact that that support of 270 is pretty strong. So I think we can rely on that. So if you're considering taking entry right now, I would recommend, possibly waiting for the price to go sideways and to retrace, because there's a good likelihood of that. Unless Bitcoin will start pumping to 48, 49, 50,000 in the near future, we should expect to see us go sideways for a few more hours, right? TD Sequential, we have about 9 hours left of potential sideways action and or retracement. So me, I prefer to buy the dips closer to support. So the price comes back down and retraces to about 270, 280 range. That's when I'd consider taking entry, since that has established itself as a stronger support. And the likelihood of us staying above that in the next hour and 15 minutes is pretty high. So make sure you check the 1-day chart and look for this candlestick up here. Make sure that it closes above $2.70 and we'll be in the clear. But I think it's pretty strong support level right now. We should expect to see that close. So I'd recommend buying closer at 270, 280 range if possible. And then of course, consider riding long to the previous all-time high. And if you already have a position, consider maybe taking some profits. And then of course, taking whatever you trimmed off the top and add that to your position when the price comes down a little bit. Again, it may not come back down, and that's okay, because if you take profits, you're still profitable at the end of the day. You can't get mad at taking money and collecting your what's due, right? You risked your money, and your reward is to take that profit. There's nothing worse than holding on to a coin so long. You get this diamond hands, these cold hands, these cold dead hands, and the price just continues to come back down, and you lose all your profits, right? Take the money while you still can. It's tremendously better to take profits, even if it's a small profit, and to continue to watch the price go up, than it is to not get any money at all, okay? So don't get greedy. This is trading. This isn't gambling. You're not betting against the house. You become the house if you use the strategies that I've exercised here today. Trust me, it works very well. So again, check out my Patreon account. I recommend referencing that in your own time, of course. First month's a good time to register, of course, but generally speaking, be careful, be cautious, and don't just don't gamble, I guess, is the takeaway here. Anyways, there's a lot of takeaways, of course, but I would say that you, adjust your stop loss closer to 270. If nothing else, at least do that to ensure the price comes below that. You haven't ready to get stopped out, you still take your profits. But the bottom line here is that Audius has strong potential to continue to progress towards $3.30, as well as $4.04 to break its previous all-time high. It already tested its all-time high here recently. Obviously, it got rejected because it had a significant increase, too high, at 152% in 2 days. That is extreme movement, right? So even 75% in 1 day, you can expect some type of retracement to occur. And usually those retracements come down about 50%. And if you look at this here, you look at this bottom here and the top here, the price averaged out right almost exactly halfway. That's pretty standard. It's pretty normal, okay? This is exactly why I want to see some sideways action here from Audius right now. It's okay if it doesn't pump up and jump up there right away. Try to find a good entry point, try to be patient, and buy somewhere around 270, 280 if possible. Then when you take that entry, of course, set your first profit target for, I would say, just above 330, because I think it's a good chance it'll pump above there at least. It might come down to test that. That might become the new support level. Then you just kind of rinse and repeat that same action up to the next major previous all-time high of $4.04. Okay, again, I know I make it sound simple, but these are the things that I look at, and these are the things that I do consistently day in and day out. And it's very rewarding at the end of the day, of course. You just got to be patient and not, don't ever try to, I know it's easier said than done, but try not to FOMO in, right? Fear of missing out is a terrible thing. Yes, there's occasions where it can work, but right now, be patient, be smart, and if you don't get in, that's great. If you get in, all the better, obviously, if you find the right time. So be patient on your entry there too. Okay, thank you. Enough rambling there. I hope you found benefit here. Like and subscribe if you have. If not, that's okay too. Feel free to comment below and let me know your thoughts. Be happy to talk to you through Telegram too. I have contact information down below at CryptoCashTech. Through Telegram, you can go and reach me there as well if you'd like. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you in the next one. Take care.